gentlemen, referee Keith Peterson has called a stop to this contest.
And just my training partners, Leandro Ego, no chance, and
Henry Cejudo's journey to becoming a UFC champion is one filled with hardship, triumph, and a story of perseverance. His path to the pinnacle of mixed martial arts is not a simple one, as it is rooted in personal loss, raw determination, and a relentless pursuit of greatness. From a young age, Cejudo faced obstacles that would break many people, but instead of succumbing to the weight of his challenges, he used them as fuel to propel him toward achieving the highest honor in combat sports. Henry's journey to becoming UFC champion is not only about his technical prowess or his ability to dominate in the Octagon. It is also about how the death of his brother, a tragedy that could have crushed him emotionally, became a defining moment in his life, pushing him to achieve greatness in ways he never imagined possible. This is a story of how grief, pain, and an unwavering will to honor his family's legacy transformed a man into one of the most successful fighters the UFC has ever seen. A rocky start. Growing up in a tough neighborhood, born on February 9, 1987, in Los Angeles, California, Henry Cejudo was no stranger to adversity from the very beginning. Raised in a rough neighborhood characterized by crime, drugs, and gang violence, Cejudo's childhood was far from the idyllic experiences many children dream of. His parents, immigrants from Mexico, worked tirelessly to provide for their children, despite the many challenges they faced in a foreign country. Despite these struggles, Cejudo's parents instilled in him the value of hard work and discipline, something that would shape his approach to life and competition. Henry had two older brothers, and it was one of them, Angel, who would have the most profound impact on his future. Angel was not just a sibling to Henry, he was his mentor and best friend. It was Angel who introduced Henry to wrestling, a sport that would go on to change the trajectory of his life. The bond they shared was undeniable, and Henry looked up to his older brother in ways that would influence his own pursuit of excellence. In a family where the focus was on survival and making the most of every opportunity, wrestling became Henry's outlet, a way to escape the harsh realities of the streets and focus on something greater. Growing up in a neighborhood where dreams often seemed out of reach, wrestling gave Henry a sense of purpose and direction. He trained hard, fueled by the encouragement of his family, especially Angel, who was a wrestler in his own right. Their shared love for the sport laid the foundation for what would later become a legendary career. The tragedy, losing a brother. In 2009, Henry's world came crashing down. At the age of 22, Angel Cejudo, Henry's older brother and biggest influence, was killed in a tragic car accident. The loss was nothing short of devastating. Angel was not just a sibling. He had been Henry's source of inspiration, the person who believed in him when no one else did. Angel's death left a void in Henry's heart that seemed impossible to fill. For a time, it felt as though the weight of grief would bury him. Losing someone so close to him was a tragedy that could have destroyed Henry's spirit. The pain from the loss was suffocating, and Henry struggled to find a way to cope with the reality of his brother's passing. For many, such an event would mark the end of a dream, the end of a journey. However, Henry Cejudo was not like most people. Rather than letting grief consume him, he used it as fuel for his future.
I think Merab's a good fight for Umar. I think Umar is just stylistically, he's too fucking good, man.
Some big fight for these weight classes, they have to meet us.
The death of Angel became a turning point, a pivotal moment that would inspire Henry to reach heights he might never have dreamed of. In interviews, Henry has spoken candidly about how the loss of his brother motivated him to keep going. "I promised my brother that I would make it to the top," Henry said. "It wasn't just something I wanted to do for myself, it was for him. I knew that if I didn't keep going, I would have wasted everything he had worked for and everything we dreamed of together." This moment of clarity became the defining force behind Henry's relentless drive to succeed. Angel's death wasn't going to be the end of Henry's story. It was going to be the catalyst that pushed him toward greatness. From wrestling to MMA, a new beginning. Henry Cejudo's transition from a decorated wrestler to a UFC champion is a testament to his unwavering determination and relentless pursuit of greatness. Long before he stepped into the Octagon, Cejudo was already making waves in the world of amateur wrestling. His defining moment came in 2008, when, at just 21 years old, he won a gold medal in freestyle wrestling at the Beijing Olympics. This remarkable achievement not only secured his place in Olympic history, but also made him the youngest American to ever win an Olympic gold in wrestling. It was an accomplishment that placed him on a trajectory toward greatness, and many thought that this would be the peak of his athletic career. But Henry's drive was far from satisfied.
TKO victory and becoming the UFC Bantamweight Champion. With this win, he earned the nickname Triple C.
While he had accomplished what few athletes could ever dream of in the world of wrestling, Cejudo wasn't content with resting on his laurels. Instead, he sought out a new challenge, one that would test his abilities in an entirely different way. Mixed martial arts, MMA, presented the perfect opportunity. The sport offered a unique combination of wrestling, striking, and submissions, requiring athletes to be versatile and skilled in numerous disciplines. For a fighter like Cejudo, who had already mastered one combat sport, MMA represented the next frontier in his athletic journey. However, transitioning from wrestling to MMA was no easy task.
Jamalov and Sidikov. I don't think Jamalov ever beat Sidikov.
Jamal?
Yeah, Jamalov.
While Cejudo's wrestling skills were top tier, MMA demanded more than just a strong grappling base. To succeed, he would need to master striking techniques such as Muay Thai and boxing, as well as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, for submission fighting. This was a daunting challenge for any athlete, but Henry was undeterred. His background in wrestling had instilled in him a deep sense of discipline, focus, and work ethic, all of which would prove invaluable as he ventured into this new world. Henry dedicated himself to learning everything there was to know about MMA. He left no stone unturned in his pursuit of excellence, training day in and day out with world-class coaches and fighters. His wrestling background provided him with a solid foundation, but he knew that to compete at the highest level, he would need to be well-rounded in every area of the sport. Henry's commitment paid off as he quickly adapted to his new fighting style, impressing analysts, coaches, and fans alike with his rapid development. By the time Henry Cejudo made his professional MMA debut in 2013, he had already established himself as an athlete who was determined to prove himself in a new arena. His wrestling was undoubtedly his strength, but what set him apart from other wrestlers transitioning to MMA was his commitment to developing every aspect of his game. Cejudo's ability to blend his wrestling with his newfound striking skills made him a unique threat, and his undefeated record spoke volumes about his talent and hard work. Fans quickly began to realize that Cejudo was not just a wrestler trying his hand at MMA. He was an athlete with the potential to become a champion in his own right. The rise to UFC Champion.
Not even lied. Sunday runs, everything. And he would bring us to this mountain. We used to do it.
In 2014, Henry Cejudo's hard work and dedication paid off when he made his highly anticipated UFC debut. His first opponent in the Octagon was Chris Carriazo, a well-established flyweight who had competed against some of the best in the world. The fight was a chance for Cejudo to prove that he belonged at the highest level of MMA, and he did not disappoint. Cejudo showcased his world-class wrestling, combined with impressive striking, and won the fight by unanimous decision. The victory was a statement to the UFC and the MMA world that Cejudo was a force to be reckoned with, earning him respect from fighters, analysts, and fans alike. However, it was his next fight in 2016 that truly tested Cejudo's mettle. In a highly anticipated flyweight title fight, Henry faced off against the legendary Demetrius "Mighty Mouse" Johnson. Johnson was widely regarded as one of the greatest fighters in MMA history, and most analysts predicted that Cejudo would be outclassed. The fight was a defining moment in Cejudo's career, as it pitted him against one of the sport's best. While Cejudo fought valiantly, Johnson's experience and mastery of all areas of the game proved too much. Cejudo lost the fight by decision, but it wasn't a loss without merit. He showed grit, determination, and a willingness to compete at the highest level.
197, about to check out this flyweight championship title fight. Long-reigning champion Demetrius Johnson and Henry Cejudo.
Even against a fighter as dominant as Johnson, the loss to Johnson was a hard pill to swallow, but it was also a crucial learning experience for Cejudo. He took the defeat in stride, using it as fuel to propel him forward in his quest for greatness. Henry knew that he could learn from the defeat and come back stronger, and that's exactly what he did. Over the next 2 years, Cejudo worked tirelessly on his weaknesses, focusing on refining his striking and improving his overall game. His hard work paid off in 2018 when he earned a rematch with Johnson for the UFC Flyweight Championship. This time, Cejudo was ready. He entered the fight with a renewed sense of purpose and a more complete skill set. In an incredible upset, Cejudo defeated Johnson via split decision, capturing the UFC Flyweight Championship and cementing his place in the history books. The win was a turning point in Cejudo's career, not only because he became the champion, but because it proved that he had the heart, resilience, and versatility to thrive in MMA. His victory was a statement to the world that Henry Cejudo was more than just an Olympic gold medalist. He was a legitimate MMA champion, and his journey was only just beginning. Becoming the King of Cringe, with his victory over Johnson, Henry Cejudo established himself as one of the top fighters in the UFC. But it wasn't just his fighting skills that set him apart. It was his persona. After his victory, Cejudo began to embrace a more brash, self-promoting style that earned him the nickname, the King of Cringe. He called out other fighters, including Bantamweight Champion TJ Dillashaw, and boldly declared himself the best fighter in the world. In 2019, Cejudo's reputation as a showman and dominant fighter would grow even further when he faced Dillashaw in a flyweight title defense. Dillashaw, a former bantamweight champion, moved down in weight to challenge Cejudo for the title. The fight was expected to be a close contest, but Cejudo shocked the world by knocking Dillashaw out in just 32 seconds. It was a stunning performance that not only defended his flyweight title, but also solidified his status as a rising star in the UFC. The Bantamweight title, a historic achievement. After his stunning victory over Dillashaw, Cejudo's next challenge came in 2019, when he faced Marlon Moraes for the vacant UFC Bantamweight Championship. Despite being considered the underdog, Cejudo proved once again that he was more than capable of handling the pressure. He won the fight via TKO in the third round, becoming the first fighter in UFC history to hold 2 titles simultaneously, one in the flyweight division and another in the bantamweight division. This historic achievement added another layer to Cejudo's already impressive legacy. He had not only proven himself to be one of the best flyweights in the world, but he had also solidified his place as a legitimate force in the bantamweight division. With 2 titles in 2 weight classes, Cejudo was a fighter to be reckoned with, and his confidence soared. Retirement and legacy. Following his success in becoming the first fighter to hold 2 UFC titles simultaneously, Cejudo shocked the MMA world by announcing his retirement from the sport in May 2020. While his decision to retire was met with surprise, it's clear that Cejudo had accomplished everything he had set out to achieve. He became a UFC champion twice over, cemented his legacy as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and showed that the grief of losing his brother could be transformed into motivation to reach the top of his sport. Even after his retirement, Cejudo continues to be an influential figure in the world of MMA, offering training and insights to other fighters and serving as a mentor for up-and-coming talent. He may have stepped away from the Octagon, but his impact on the sport will be felt for years to come. Henry Cejudo's story is one of overcoming adversity, embracing personal loss, and using it to fuel an extraordinary career. From the loss of his brother to becoming a UFC champion, Cejudo has proven that no challenge is insurmountable when you have the heart, will, and determination to succeed. His journey is a testament to the power of resilience, and it serves as an inspiration to anyone who has faced personal loss or obstacles in their own lives. Henry Cejudo's rise to UFC champion was not an accident. It was the result of a lifetime of hard work, sacrifice, and most notably, the drive to honor his brother's memory. The loss of Angel could have shattered Henry's world, but instead, it gave him the strength to become one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the Octagon. Cejudo's legacy is not only defined by his skills and accomplishments, but by his ability to turn personal tragedy into triumph. Thank you for watching this video on the incredible journey of Henry Cejudo. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more content about UFC legends and inspirational fighters, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more engaging and powerful content.